In this video, we're going to be doing an overview of my Imperial Officer collection, both for Black Series and 3 3/4 inch up to this point at the time of this video. Recently, I just got caught up with having an individual video for all the officers I have with the AT-AT commander here. So I figured this would be a great opportune time to just go ahead and do an overview video. Some of these action figures we haven't really looked at on the channel for a couple years now. Specifically like Natasi Dala and Galeb Pelion, which are customs, and of course a few others in between. So I figured this would be a good opportune time to talk about them yet again, and then just see everybody laid out here all together. I've kind of had it for the recent Imperial Officer videos I had, but I wanted it again like a more laid out approach, similar to what you see here. So I did try to lay everything out, basically what types of scenes they interact with. It's more like the EU area. Get into some of the guys from Empire Strikes Back. Moff Giroid is basically the only one for Return of the Jedi, and then some more like the Rogue One / New Hope era. Black Series, I didn't really have a particular setup for it, but we don't have too many Black Series officers up to this point. In fact, this is pretty much all of them. I know I'm missing like the Army officer from Andor, one that accompanies the guy in the back there. I'm trying to think of other ones. Of course, like Deidre, characters like that. That cap that I have on Thrawn's head, that's General Veers's. Figure I try to see how that fits on him. It doesn't really fit. I tried it for Tarkin as well, and definitely does not fit. And bring out the interrogation droid too. So if you don't know who some of these characters are, I'll just go through each one of them briefly, talk a little bit about them. Of course, Moff Gideon from The Mandalorian. I'm not specifically sure. Of course, I assume he's a Grand Moff, but I'm not exactly sure what type of rank he would have in the Imperial military if he did. I haven't read enough about his character up to this point. Then we have General Veer, a Storm Commando from the X-Wing comic series. He is from the comic pack. Lieutenant Oxio, I think it is. He's in A New Hope, actually. He's one of the TIE Fighter pilots that later on went on to get named. We have Baron Sundir Fel. Two versions of him. One in his regular officer's uniform, and then in his TIE Fighter gear. And Grand Admiral Thrawn from Rebels. We have Admiral Natasi Dala. She's a custom I had made several years ago. She's one of the first videos I featured on the channel. Same with Grand Admiral Pelion there. We are finally getting a Captain Pelion for Vintage Collection. Be interesting to see if Hasbro does get around to a Grand Admiral Pelion at some point. And then we have Grand Admiral Thrawn from the comic packs. This is much more of a EU-centric Thrawn. We have two versions of Ysayn Azard here. She's not technically in the Imperial military. I think she's part of the Intelligence Bureau. I'm not sure if they're considered like a branch of the military. She does wear a similar uniform, just red. This second one here, she is a custom that I bought online several years ago, and this is basically her training armor. Oftentimes in the X-Wing comic pack or comic book series, we see her training through a simulation And I don't think this is a totally accurate look to how she appears in the scenes there, but it gets the point across and it's close enough, and I think it's neat having a Sandazard action figure in Battle Gear. We do a lot of nice poses with her too. She's very articulated. Then we have the official Hasbro release from the comic pack line. My favorite action figures. She is kind of the mascot of my channel. Part of the reason why I did that is, one, I think Sandazard is a very interesting character. Two, at the time I created my channel, decided to start this YouTube venture, I was reading a lot of the X-Wing book series and comics, and I thought she was just towards the forefront of my mind. And three, she doesn't really get talked about a lot in the EU community as much. Of course, people know who she is, but I figured this would be an opportunity to get some attention for a character that doesn't often get talked about. We have Agent Callus, Juno Eclipse, and more junior officers. Of course, Juno, I think, is a captain. Even though she's a pilot, it's hard to say. I would think she's kind of portrayed as a junior officer, but like in the naval services, a captain is usually one of the highest ranks, just before you get into admiral. I have to check that out again. I'm pretty sure Callus is a junior officer. The interrogation droid. I do hope to get one in 3 3/4 inch scale. I used to own one. It was accompanied with Darth Vader from the Power of the Force line. I ended up selling that. I do hope to track that down again at some point. And to some of the guys from Empire Strikes Back, I have Admiral Ozzel, Saga line. I have Captain Piet. There is an Admiral Piet as well from the Troop Builder set. We have Captain Nita, General Veers from the Saga collection, the AT-AT Commander from TBC, Moff Giroid, 2 versions of him, Saga collection and TBC. Then some more A New Hope / Rogue One characters. We have Wolf Yularen, or Colonel Wolf Yularen from the Saga collection. This is the Revenge of Sith Tarkin, and he's just labeled as Governor Tarkin. But I treat him as just a New Hope version of Grand Moff Tarkin. We have Director Krennic. Both Yularen and Krennic, I believe, are part of the Imperial Security Bureau. And then we have the standard Imperial officer in the back there, which he could be any rank. I assume he's probably going to be a junior officer. And there are several different versions of him, but I have the one with the blonde hair. Hope to get the rest at some point. Fortunately, they're not too expensive. I do check it out every now and then, but it's just one of those things. It's like, yeah, I'll get to it. For Black Series, we have General Veers, Grand Admiral Thrawn, Admiral Piet. You can see the difference between the rank badges for this Piet and that one there. Then we have the Imperial officer from Andor, which, judging by his rank badge, he's probably more of a junior officer. Maybe he's a first lieutenant. We have Grand Moff Tarkin. And then we have Lieutenant Tala, I think. I'm not sure whose rank badge is more appropriate. Maybe he's the second lieutenant. I'm not sure. And then I figure I have Vader here as well. I suppose he's technically like the equivalent of a general, since he is second in command of the Empire. Well, I'm very proud of this collection. Imperial officers have been a very integral part of my collection for about 20 years now. Some of the very first ones I ever got were General Veers and Lofty Geroid there. And for the longest time, those were my two main officers. Then eventually I did branch out and get the one in the black uniform there. Not that exact one, but I did get one back in 2007. Then, for the longest time, I didn't really expand so much for my officers. I did get Lieutenant Oxio from the Imperial Pilot Legacy pack. And Ysanazard and Thrawn I've had since about 2017. The two comic packs there. Had the customs since about 2017 or 18. Agent Kalos back there I've had since about 2015 or so. I detail all that in all the individual videos, so I would recommend checking all of them out. Do hope to continue expanding this. It is a nice feeling though that up to this point, any Imperial officer I get from here on out, it's going to be totally new for my collection. It's a huge load off instead of having to play catch up. It is getting close. I am getting close to having all the action figures in my collection reviewed, or at least have some video of some sorts for all of them. But we're getting there. But I would like to get like the Imperial scanning crew, for instance. I used to own that pack from TVC. They were Kmart exclusives. I ended up selling those as well. I do want to track them down again at some point, and there are plenty of other officers out there. Like I said, the one in the black uniform there, I hope to get the variants of him, and I'm sure there's others that I'm not thinking of off the top of my head, but we'll see. And the troop builder pack, perhaps I'll get that one at some point. And then the officers from the Death Star briefing room set that accompany you Lauren there, I hope to get the rest of them. I think I'll leave the video at that. Hope you enjoyed this overview. I'm sure I'll be doing plenty more dioramas and scenes and things like that with all these characters at some point in the future, so stay tuned for all that. In the meantime, if you haven't already, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. I appreciate your support. And check out the links in the description if you haven't done so already. And as always, thanks for watching.